In Eastern Europe, tension remains high. The war in Ukraine has reshaped the entire security landscape, forcing NATO to respond with decisive action. And now, another powerful signal has been sent: the arrival of the U.S. Army's 2nd Cavalry Regiment in Poland, right along NATO's eastern frontier. This is not just a routine movement of troops. For NATO, it represents resolve. For the United States, it represents commitment. And for Russia, it serves as a stark reminder that the alliance stands united, willing to defend every inch of its territory. But what exactly is the 2nd Cavalry Regiment? Why does their deployment matter? And what role will they play in the balance of power in Eastern Europe? In this video, we take a deep look into the regiment's history, its modern capabilities, and the strategic importance of their presence near the Poland-Ukraine border. The 2nd Cavalry Regiment, also known as the Dragoons, is one of the oldest continuously serving regiments in the United States Army. Their origins date back to 1836, long before the United States became the global power we know today. Initially formed as a mounted unit to patrol the vast frontiers of the young American nation, the regiment quickly gained a reputation for its discipline and adaptability. They fought in the Mexican-American War, the Civil War, both World Wars, and the Cold War era, adapting to new technologies and doctrines in each generation. During World War II, the 2nd Cavalry was among the units that liberated Czechoslovakia, an act that still resonates deeply in Central Europe today. In the Cold War, they were stationed in Germany, standing watch on NATO's front line against the Soviet Union. That legacy of always being placed in the most critical hotspots continues today. The deployment to Poland is not an accident, it is a continuation of their historic role as NATO's forward guardians. Today, the 2nd Cavalry Regiment is an armored Stryker brigade combat team. Their signature vehicle is the M1126 Stryker infantry carrier vehicle, an 8-wheeled, highly mobile platform capable of transporting infantry while providing protection and firepower. The regiment fields various Stryker variants, from infantry carriers to reconnaissance vehicles, mobile gun systems, and mortar carriers. This flexibility allows the unit to adapt quickly to diverse battlefield conditions. Unlike heavy armored brigades, the 2nd Cavalry is designed for speed, rapid deployment, and combined arms maneuver. In the flat plains and forests of Eastern Europe, mobility can be just as critical as armor. But equipment alone doesn't make them formidable. It is their training, cohesion, and ability to integrate seamlessly with NATO allies that make them one of the most valuable forward deployed units in Europe. Poland has become the centerpiece of NATO's defense on the eastern flank. With its geographic location, bordering both Belarus and Ukraine, Poland is a natural staging point for reinforcing NATO's deterrence strategy. The U.S. has long rotated forces into Poland under the Enhanced Forward Presence, a NATO initiative created after Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. These rotations ensure that Allied troops are always present near the most vulnerable borders. Orzysz, the town where the 2nd Cavalry Regiment is deployed, lies in northeastern Poland, not far from the Suwałki Gap, a narrow strip of land connecting Poland and Lithuania, squeezed between Belarus and Russia's Kaliningrad exclave. Military planners call it NATO's Achilles heel. If conflict were to erupt, securing this corridor would be vital for keeping the Baltic states connected to the rest of the alliance. Thus, the arrival of the 2nd Cavalry Regiment here is not just symbolic, it is strategically vital. For Russia, every NATO deployment along its borders is carefully watched. Moscow frequently condemns these moves as provocative. But from NATO's perspective, these deployments are purely defensive. The war in Ukraine has only amplified NATO's sense of urgency. By placing American forces in Poland, the alliance demonstrates not only its readiness to defend, but also its political unity. Each rotation reminds both allies and adversaries alike, NATO is more than a treaty on paper. It is boots on the ground, armor on the border, and commitment in action. For the U.S., this deployment also sends a message to European allies. Washington remains engaged, despite global commitments from the Indo-Pacific to the Middle East. The transatlantic bond remains unbroken. Daily life for the soldiers of the 2nd Cavalry Regiment in Poland is a mix of routine and readiness. They conduct live-fire exercises, joint training with Polish forces, and multinational maneuvers with other NATO allies. These exercises are not just about practicing tactics. They are about building trust, overcoming language barriers, and standardizing procedures. In a real conflict, every second counts, and training side by side ensures smoother coordination under pressure. For many soldiers, deployment also means cultural exchange. Living in Poland offers opportunities to experience the history and traditions of a country that has faced its share of struggles for independence and security. This human connection reinforces the sense of shared purpose between allies. So, what comes next? NATO's eastern posture will almost certainly continue to evolve. As long as the war in Ukraine rages on, the alliance will maintain and possibly expand its forward presence. The 2nd Cavalry Regiment's arrival is part of a broader shift, from reassurance to deterrence, and from temporary rotations to long-term commitments. NATO has already announced plans to establish more permanent force structures in Eastern Europe, and Poland is at the heart of this transformation. Whether this deters aggression or further escalates tensions is an open question, but one thing is clear. The 2nd Cavalry Regiment will remain a key player in the balance of power on NATO's most exposed frontier. The story of the 2nd Cavalry Regiment is not just about one unit. It is about history, commitment, and the evolving nature of security in Europe. From the frontiers of the 19th century to the plains of Poland in the 21st century, the Dragoons have always been where they are needed most. Their arrival near the Poland-Ukraine border is a reminder that NATO's strength is not just in words or treaties, but in action. Soldiers on the ground, armor ready to move, allies standing shoulder to shoulder. As the world watches the conflict in Ukraine unfold, the deployment of the 2nd Cavalry Regiment stands as both a deterrent and a symbol, a message that the defense of Europe remains unshakable.